Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back for those that have watched my videos before. Today, we're not going to be going over any new gameplay. That all of the gameplay that will be shown are either clips that I've had for a while and games that have already been uploaded. I think all of them. Today, I just wanted to come on and talk about my experience with the MMR, as if people haven't talked this topic to death already. For people that are new to DBD or don't know much about DBD, people that are super casual, or people that really aren't gamers like that, because I know some of the people that watch my videos are just my friends, and I appreciate them and I love them, but they don't know anything about games. They're just like checking it out to support me. So for those that don't know, matchmaking MMR is as stated, it's matchmaking. So the idea being that the better you play, the better the system balances you out, and you end up going against players that are your competition is better, right? So the better that you play, the better that your opponents are. In theory, it's great. A lot of video games have it. But I think in terms of the way that it works with DBD, it's not so great. And I know that I'm not the only one that feels this way. People that have been playing DBD for a while, a lot of top players, people in general that know about it, they're not the biggest fans. And I know that for people that are following DBD, that we hear a lot of excuse me, we hear a lot of opinions about it from the top of the top, right? The top survivors, the top killers, and how they speak about it. But I think it's also important for just the average Joe Schmo to be able to come on and talk about it. We should be able to hear all sides, and I'm sure this conversation has been had by average Joe Schmoes on like Reddit or other places, and there have probably been other videos about it, but I just wanted to come on. I am not a top level player in any aspect. I'm not a top level killer. I'm not a top level survivor. I have been playing the game for a while. I think the first time I started really getting into the game was around the time, I think not too long after The Shape, aka Michael Myers, came out. I think that was when I first really started getting into the game. And so I've been playing for a while. I would say probably cumulatively, I probably have around 1,000 hours last year alone. You know, after for those that don't know, I play on console, and at the end of the year, PlayStation always does this like, hey, these are like the games that you played, and you know, this is how many hours you've been playing them. And last year alone, I think I clocked in around like 460 something, 450 something hours or something like that. So taking that and then applying that to how long that I've probably been playing, how long that the game's been out. Well, not I'm sorry. Let me go back. Not as long as the game's been out, but as long as I've been playing, right? So since Michael Myers, which has been a while ago, I probably do clock in around 1,000 hours, if not more. Uh, Predominantly 90%, 95% of those hours have been as Survivor. I am a Survivor main, but within the last month, I would say that I've been really focusing on Killer. Prior to this last month, I would probably play Killer, you know, like here and there. If I wanted some extra blood points, I'd hop on and I'd play Killer. But I would say if I was gonna like clock in however many hours I have as a Killer, it's probably like 100, I don't know, maybe 150, something like that. It's not that much. So I am, though not necessarily a baby player, a baby killer for sure. And I don't know. In my experience, what has happened, I focused on Huntress because that's my favorite killer. So I thought if I'm going to really buckle down and do this, then I'm going to play Huntress. And I know enough about the game. I've been playing the game long enough that I know how to catch the glaring mistakes, right? The big mistakes that survivors can make, that you want to avoid. I can catch those easily. But it's when you start going against the crazy good, well, maybe not crazy good, but the great, you know, great players, the more advanced players, right? Like I'd say I'm probably more of a intermediate player. When you start going against the advanced players, there are a lot more nuances that go on that I'm not. Uh, Although I may be privy to, I am not I don't have that. I've never done it in practice, right? So I can know a lot of the great things that you should be doing as a survivor and as a killer, but I don't know how to put it into practice just yet. I'm still learning, and that's okay. But in my experience, what I've had happen is that, you know, I was playing Huntress, and I was getting, you know, like 3Ks pretty consecutively and consistently, right? It was like back to back to back. I was just blowing through 3 and 4Ks. And obviously, because it's MMR, you're going to go up against more challenging opponents, which is great. It's not necessarily that that I am gradually, well, that's the point, right? It's not that I'm going against more challenging players, it's the speed in which it's happened for me, where it's like, instead of it being kind of a gradual thing, it's been more of like a bam. It's like I played for a month, and I played really, really well for a month, and then it's just bam, here's, you know, here are these like really great opponents, and I'm just not ready for it. And so it's not necessarily the concept, it's the speed of which it happened. And I don't know if that's just because there aren't, in comparison to survivors, there aren't as many killers. I don't know if maybe that's the reason why it happened so quickly. I don't know. I think that there needs to be a ranking system, similar to what was had before, where the MMR needs to be in place, yes, but there also needs to be like a rank, so that you can kind of gauge where you should be about and where your opponent should be about. Now it's just like, I don't know, man, like, you know, there's literally, there's a clip in here somewhere where, you know, it was like I had only been playing Huntress for like 2 weeks, and I was, you know, smashing my games pretty well, but it was like 2 weeks later, you know, I'm getting the crazy, you know, flashlight clicky, you know, survivors. And the thing about what was going on before MMR is that before MMR, those kind of matches just happened sporadically. And what I mean by that is, it was kind of a toss-up with the old system, right? You didn't know who you were going against. Sometimes you got good players and good opponents. Sometimes you got bad players and opponents. Sometimes you got people that were in the middle. There was no real, I mean, there was a ranking system, and obviously, but even that ranking system back then, while it gave kind of a general idea of like where somebody should be, there were a lot of like rank 1 killers and survivors that weren't that strong. They just played the hell out of the game. And so I get it, but there was, I think, a freedom in that, where it's like, yeah, you can get to rank 1, I guess, if you want, if you really want to try that. But it doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. Rank 1, not rank 1, the matches are kind of sort of going to be the same. I'm sorry, kind of sort of going to be the same. It's kind of sort of going to be a toss up. You just have fun. You just have fun. And now it's much more pressure on everybody, where if you're a survivor, and you want to have decent teammates, you need to be not just playing better, but you need to be escaping. And for me personally, I'm a very aggressive survivor, and I just kind of play however I want. I'm going to do whatever I want. And back before, it was like, okay, well, I'll probably rank up just because I did a lot in the game, and that's cool. But there's no real pressure about it. If I did a lot in the game and I got out, cool. If I didn't do a lot, or I'm sorry, if I did a lot in the game and I got out, cool. But if I didn't get out, who cares? I did a lot in the match. The team got through. I was, you know, a good asset to my team, and that's all that really matters. I had fun. I gave a good fight to the killer. Great, cool. And then, you know, as a killer, I imagine back then it was the same, where it's like, do you want to go for a bunch of hooks? Cool, you can if you want. It doesn't really matter. If you don't want to go for a lot of hooks and you want to camp, okay, cool, whatever. It doesn't really matter. It's just another match. Now it's different. Now it's you, as a survivor, you may have to play a little more conservatively, because you have to get out if you want to have your MMR go up, and you want to have decent teammates, which is ideally what it's for, right? You want to have decent teammates that are all around the same skill level. You can't really play the way you want to play. You have to play a little safer. because the most important thing isn't how much fun you're having and how much you're doing and what you want to do. It's, did you get out? And then as a killer, it doesn't matter how many chases you have and how much fun you had, it's how many kills did you get, right? So then we have this situation of, now we have killers that are doing what they have to do to, and as somebody that stepped into killer recently, I totally get it. I am not one of those people that's going to run around saying killers are being toxic because they're camping and tunneling and etc etc. Did I used to be that person? Absolutely. I used to be very salty about things like that. And you'll probably catch a video on here on this channel somewhere where I was probably a little salty, and I probably made a comment or two. But after stepping into the killer shoes, I get it. You know, sometimes you have to make those decisions. It's not about being toxic. It's about having a strategy. If you want to win and you want your MMR up and you want to get these kills out, what's the best way to do it? What's the most efficient way to do it? It doesn't matter about the hooks. It doesn't matter about how much fun you're having or anybody else is having. Just get it done. And there's a respect that I have for that, where, you know, now when it does happen, I don't get salty because I just get it. That's just something that you have to do as a survivor. If you aren't going for a bunch of saves and you're kind of just, you know, doing what you got to do, or if you're a survivor and you have to do a bunch of body blocking and flashlight saves and boons all over the place, I get it. You got to do it because you're trying to get out. You're trying to get your MMR up. And it's just kind of sucks that the game has kind of been boiled down to that. I think a lot of people would argue that you still can have tons of fun with the game. Who cares about the MMR? But the truth is that those that play the game a lot know that the MMR does mean a little something in terms of both your opponents and, if you're a survivor, your teammates. And it just kind of sucks the fun out of the game. It makes it a little more stressful for everybody involved. And I think the toxicity level has definitely gone up. Toxicity in the community for DBD was already high, because for whatever reason in this game, people have the most massive of egos, and it's like, it's a party game. Why do you care this much? And I think a lot of it just boils down to people comparing themselves to these quote unquote top level players, and they want to be these top level players that they see videos of, and, you know, egos get involved and things get really nasty. That's feels, in my opinion, almost tenfold now it's just people are losing their minds in terms of what's toxic, and, you know, the teabagging and the clicking and the, you know, all of that junk that is just like, it's just part of the game, but people take it so much more, I almost want to say so much more personally now, and that kind of sucks. I personally would like them to just get rid of MMR, period. Just take it back to where it used to be. But if they can't, which I totally understand, I would just love for the devs to revamp it, tweak it a little bit, to take in more nuances. Is that going to happen? Nah, they already said that that's not going to happen. But I hope one day, fingers crossed, they reconsider. Anyway, that was my kind of rant on the MMR from a Scrubs perspective. You know, so that's it. That's all that's all I really wanted to say. If you guys like it, comment and subscribe and all that good stuff. Tell me how you guys feel about MMR. I'm personally not liking it, but some of y'all might like it, and if you like it, tell me why you like it. All right, you guys take care of yourselves, take care of each other. See you next time.